breaking legs with a bat, sticking toothpicks into fingernails, and hammering a nail into the forehead. There's no worst, only worse. Despite the Chinese authorities' execution of anti-fraud propaganda, fraud continues to be a significant issue. These individuals are drawn by enticing work offers set up by fraudulent companies and often become unwitting victims. These are common occurrences in the fraud compound in northern Myanmar. Scammers employ diverse tactics, referring to their targets as pigs and the platforms as pig troughs, raising pigs by establishing trust, to deceive and extract money, the final process dubbed slaughtering pigs. Pan Sheng, with a master's degree in computer engineering, is an expert in internet and information safety. He has diligently worked for 6 years since graduation. However, his daily grind has not yielded the expected returns. Instead, his promotion opportunities have been snatched away by the company's connections. He takes the offer from a Singaporean gaming company to serve as a technical consultant. Before leaving, he hacks into the company's network and implants Trojan software. With a monthly salary of up to 50,000 RMB, there's no hesitation. He packs his bags and meets with the gaming company's agent, Akai, to board a flight to Singapore. Pan Sheng is cautious about being deceived abroad, so he hacks into everyone's phone in advance to gather information, finding nothing suspicious. Little does he know, Akai, the recruiter, has 2 phones. Besides Pan Sheng, there are several other newly hired colleagues on the plane. After a few hours of flight, the plane arrives in Thailand with a layover. Akai confiscates everyone's passports under the pretext of handling the transfer procedures and claims he will take them to see a show. Akai leads the group away from the airport. Without suspicion, everyone follows Akai to the red light district. As they pass through an alley, they were intercepted by several burly men who knocked them to the ground and placed hoods over their heads. Realizing the danger, some attempted to flee, but their unfamiliarity with the area led to their capture. Eventually, when Pan Sheng and the others removed their hoods, they found themselves in the fraud compound. Manager Liu is in charge of this fraud compounding, disguised in a school building. He appears kind and friendly on the surface. In reality, he is manipulative and indifferent. Under Manager Liu's guidance, Pan Sheng toured the industries in the compound. Here, everything from fraud, gambling, to money laundering is available, including live nude chat services. Manager Liu deceived a group of models from the mainland to act as bait. As a newcomer, Pan Sheng was assigned to the promotion team. The team has a basic salary of 8,000 yuan, with a commission of over 35,000 yuan for exceeding performance targets. Their main task is to find pigs online, raise them for slaughter. During a meal, Pan Sheng openly challenged Manager Liu, but it only resulted in Akai pointing a gun at Pan Sheng's head, leaving him petrified and obedient. Liu comes in to ease the situation, playing the good cop. First night, they are asked to send a greeting to their families. Pan Sheng hesitates. Akai warns him again. Akai WeChat as Pan Sheng, informing Pan Sheng's mom he is having the time of his life. Disobedience results in solitary beatings, and those attempting to escape are immediately punished or put in dog cages. Seeing the situation clearly, they can only choose to temporarily accept it. The next day, Xiaobai, who admitted his mistake and showed a good attitude, was released from the cage. Pan Sheng approached him. When Xiaobai learned that Pan Sheng also wanted to escape, he quickly discouraged him. The server is located in Philippines and Cambodia, guarded by troops. The day's work began. Akai assigns Pan Sheng to work. Facing refusal again, Akai shows everyone the consequences. Liu steps in, asking Akai to assign Pan Sheng's work politely. In order to find customers, the promotion team started casting a wide net. During this time, Pan Sheng, who hadn't given up on escaping, quietly crafted a paper note with a plea for help. He went to the restroom, intending to throw it out the window, but found the window completely sealed. Stepping on the urinal, Pan Sheng attempted to pull down the wire mesh. Unexpectedly, the urinal broke under his weight, causing the water pipes to burst. As Pan Sheng stood bewildered, a woman emerged from one of the restroom stalls, picking up the note he dropped on the ground. Anna is a member specializing in online sensuality and management. Anna didn't report Pan Sheng, but instead advised him to work honestly. She explained to Pan Sheng that once he reaches 5 million in sales, he can return home. Pan Sheng finds out she willingly came here to work. Anna was a well-known model for an entertainment company. Originally, she had a bright future, but an ad for home services ruined her prospects. Anna explained to her superiors that she was unaware of the matter, but in order to protect the company's reputation, they still fired her. With no job and no livelihood, she began finding ways to make money. Through a friend's recommendation, Anna started taking on freelance work. When she arrived at the hotel for a shoot, Anna realized it wasn't actually for an advertisement. She left the room in frustration, and the agent quickly caught up with her, demanding compensation for breach of contract. At a loss, Anna's friend Shuang Shuang appeared and helped her out of the situation. Later, Shuang Shuang introduced Anna to her business partner, Achai. They recruit car dealers to Myanmar, a position with a monthly salary of 100,000 to 150,000 yuan. Anna sees Shuang Shuang living a comfortable life, and in need of money, she insists Shuang Shuang to get her in for the job. Little did she know, it was all a setup from the get-go. Anna willingly packs her bags and heads to the Myanmar region with Akai. The ladies crawl through the fence and hop on a bus to a school. Their phone conversations are all monitored from this moment on, and dual authentication of their fingerprint for entry and exit. As a car dealer under Manager Lu's fraudulent compound, her quota is 5 million in sales. Once accomplished, she could leave with her passport and earnings. The dealers work in shifts to engage with praise. The tech team can set up a website and game in less than 10 minutes, all under Lu's control. They aren't worried about losing as the banker. They just need you to keep playing. Back to the present, Pan Sheng confidently assures Anna he can help her reach her quota. In return, she must get help after she leaves. Just then, Manager Lu's subordinate, Akai, appeared and began knocking on the door to urge Anna. Anna hid Pan Sheng in the install. Akai slaps Anna as an act under surveillance. In reality, upon learning that she was on her period, he got her sanitary pads. The noise Pan Sheng made in the restroom gave him away. Akai immediately went in to check, and Pan Sheng, in a panic, hastily threw the note into the toilet. But to his dismay, there was no water in the toilet. Pan Sheng had no choice but to fish the note out of the water and swallow it alive. This narrowly averted disaster. Pan Sheng worked desperately to help Anna achieve her sales targets, and finally, they reeled in a big fish. Gu, a typical rich second generation, with a master's degree in mathematics. He created a studio in his apartment with classmates to make some extra money. A company offering $3,000 to run a scrolling text ad for an online gambling app. Gu's girlfriend, Xiao Yu, is skeptical of the ad. After Gu drops her off, driven by curiosity, he downloads the app. At first, Gu won every game, gradually becoming addicted. He began studying the odds of the algorithm, developing his own theory. Relying on this, Gu won another sum of money, but as the saying goes, too much cleverness leads to folly. Despite all his calculations, he couldn't control the odds set by the dealer. After winning for a few days, Gu started losing money. He wanted to recoup his losses by continuing to invest money. As time went on, Gu became trapped in a cycle of gambling, unable to extricate himself. He started borrowing money. After losing tens of thousands of yuan in succession, Gu became the focus of attention at the fraud compound. Pan Sheng was instructed to contact Gu as Anna the dealer. Communicating through the WeChat app, who falsely claim to have insider information. Gu was cautious at first and didn't follow up much until he confirmed the insider information was genuine. Gu's girlfriend, Xiao Yu, sensed something amiss with him. Upon learning of his gambling, she tried to stop him. Unfortunately, by then, Gu was already deeply immersed and refused to listen to anyone's advice. Soon, debt collectors came knocking on the door. When Gu's parents found out, they calculated that he had lost over 1,000,000 yuan. Fortunately, Gu's parents had enough money to help cover his losses. They thought Gu would mend his ways. Instead, Gu immediately sold his car and went to his grandmother's house to steal her jewelry for money. Gu's mother discovered her son was still gambling and locked him in his room to prevent him from leaving. Gu used this as leverage, and his mother had no choice but to let him out. He went to his father's room, took his phone, cash from the safe, and the property deed under his name. He mortgaged the apartment his parents gifted him, raising a total of 8,000,000 yuan. He wanted to make a big move to win back his losses. When manager Lu learned of this, he instructed Pan Sheng to use the bait-and-switch strategy, disguised as Anna, suggesting Gu to start with smaller bets for lower risk. However, Gu refused to listen and insisted on joining in. As a result, Gu fell for the trap. He went all in. Anna was pulled in to communicate with Gu, asking him to wait momentarily to process the large amount of money. Gu waits as manager Lu, who received the money, immediately dispersed it into the accounts of hundreds of truck fleets. He then arranged for the fleets to withdraw the money using their bank cards, launder it, convert it into US dollars, and smuggle it into Myanmar. In fact, the police intercepted the fraudulent transaction swiftly through surveillance data. The police contact Gu immediately to warn him of the fraudulent transaction occurring on his account. Gu refuses to listen. However, due to the nationwide presence of truck fleets, the police could only trace back to the third-level cards. The fourth and fifth-level cards were scattered, making it impossible to track. The fraudulent group acted swiftly, laundering the 8,000,000 yuan in less than 10 minutes and disappearing without a trace. The police had no evidence and couldn't catch anyone. As expected, Gu not only lost, but also had his WeChat account deleted by the other party. It wasn't until this moment that he realized he had been scammed. At this point, his parents and Xiao Yu came looking for him. Overwhelmed with despair and shame, Gu leaped over the balcony. Despite being promptly sent to the hospital, ending up in a vegetative state with no certainty of when he would wake up. On the other side, manager Lu celebrated with a lavish banquet and firecrackers. Rumor has it that there is a custom among the fraudulent groups in northern Myanmar that they celebrate with firecrackers for every successful scam of 500,000 yuan. With each successful scam of 1 billion yuan, they set off fireworks. But behind the firecrackers and fireworks lay shattered families. During the banquet, manager Lu praised Pan Sheng and Anna, noting it's also Pan Sheng's birthday. For a moment, Pan Sheng was touched by the gesture. No one cared at his old company. Manager Lu led everyone in playing a game, scattering bags of money on the ground. Each person used chopsticks to pick up as much as they could. The whole compound descended into madness. Despite being the mastermind behind the entire event, Pan Sheng only took one bill and tucked it into his pocket. Anna convinces Pan Sheng to stay and keep working. Upon reaching her quota, manager Lu called Anna to his office, earning her passport to leave. Lu blatantly asked her to marry him. Anna hesitates. He quickly claims she needs to make an additional 20,000,000 yuan before she could leave. Anna refuses to stay. Lu forces her to kneel down. Pan Sheng suddenly knocked on the door. Allowing Anna to dash out in time, Pan Sheng wants to collaborate with Lu. He can create a system with a dynamic password that could turn manager Lu's phone into the only terminal that could access the server. If the password was entered incorrectly 3 times, the server would be erased automatically. This automated program incorporates all customer service functions into the software. This would replace the entire team, saving a large sum of labor costs. Manager Lu greatly admired Pan Sheng's plan. After proposing the software program, Pan Sheng had moved out of the gymnasium and into a single room. He wrote the emergency helpline number on the paper currency. The recent success also led to the sudden appearance of Lu's daughter. The next day, Akai takes a group to the downtown area to take photos to reassure their families. On the way, Anna noticed the paper currency in Pan Sheng's hand and deliberately asked for it. Due to Akai's influence, Anna was not restricted in her movements, waiting for a chance to spend it. Pan Sheng was busy taking pictures, gesturing a 6 with his hand. They stopped at a coffee shop to rest. Anna offered to treat everyone. The waitress returns the marked bill as they don't accept US dollars, only Canaan currency. Anna asks the waitress to call the number on the bill. Prepared to leave, she bumps into a customer, spilling the man's coffee and drops the bills on the ground. Akai immediately rushed over to sort the situation. The waitress cleans up the scene, informing Anna she forgot her money. Before Akai gets suspicious, Pan Sheng stepped in at the critical moment, taking the money. Back at the scamming compound, Manager Lu basks the money under the sun. As the saying goes, money left unspent will grow moldy. Lu took Pan Sheng into the technical department, appointing him as the new team leader, focusing on developing software. As a result, the members of the team became unemployed, being told they are going home. Xiaobai thanked Pan Sheng before leaving. Pan Sheng handed the US dollar bill over to Xiaobai. These men cover their eyes, ready to go home. As an agreement, Pan Sheng establishes this software program to disband the team. He quickly learns Manager Lu is selling these trained men for 30,000 yuan each to the neighboring scamming compound. En route, Akai lacked cash to buy cigarettes. He searched Xiaobai and by chance found Pan Sheng's bill, leading to the discovery of the SOS number written on it. The group was taken back, being informed of the incident. Lu immediately called a meeting to find the rightful owner of the dollars. Xiaobai was already beaten badly. From the coffee scent on the bill, Akai already knows it's Anna. Under Lu's constant pressure, Anna and Pan Sheng stood up simultaneously. Lu opens the door, counting to 3, allowing everyone to leave. Pan Sheng urges everyone to freedom, yet no one moves. Pan Sheng's keyboard hand gets smashed. Akai subjects Anna to torture. Hitman inserts a toothpick into Anna's fingernails. Pan Sheng's colleague was assigned to break his leg. While Xiaobai had nails hammered into his brain, lay on the ground, wailing, Lu ended it with a gunshot. Lu orders everyone to get back to work. Anna was sent to work elsewhere. She will no longer be able to deal cards, likely to be sold only for prostitution. Anna seized the opportunity to escape by jumping off the bus. The incident happened suddenly, and before anyone could react, Anna disappeared into the crowd. She finds the local police asking for help. As the police make a call, she notices the fraud gamble chip on the keychain. They lock the station immediately. Anna is not going anywhere. Soon after, Akai came. Akai took Anna to the riverside, tied her up in a sack with stones, and sunk her into the water. Akai recorded the entire process, and once the video was finished, he retrieved Anna, placed her on a boat, returned her passport, and let her go. Anna escaped from this demonic place, while Akai returned with the video, falsely claiming that Anna's issue had been dealt with. On the other hand, since the incident with her boyfriend, Xiaoyu joined the anti-terrorism volunteer team. During this time, she met Zhao Ji, the head of the police anti-terrorism department, and learned a lot from her. Zhao's team also told Xiaoyu that the police are currently making every effort to investigate the case. That night, as Zhao and Xiaoyu were on their way home, they encountered a man distributing flyers to each car while waiting at a traffic light. Xiaoyu took a look at one of the flyers and was shocked to see that the person in the photo looked exactly like the woman who was involved in the scam. Upon learning this information, Zhao's team immediately got out of the car to apprehend the person distributing the flyers. They followed the trail and eventually traced it back to the printing studio. Through the manager, they found out about Anna's close friend Shuang Shuang and arrested her. The police then went to Anna's house to gather information. Just at that moment, Anna returned home and upon seeing the police, immediately panicked and fled. The police quickly caught up with her. After calming her down, Anna reluctantly cooperated. At first, she was unwilling to work with them, but after hearing many stories of victims from Zhao's team and seeing Xiaoyu's boyfriend, she agreed to cooperate and divulged information about the scam organization in northern Myanmar. With Anna's cooperation, a cross-border operation officially began. Since Chinese police have no jurisdiction in Myanmar, they had to rely on the local police to work together to dismantle the scam dens. Meanwhile, Pan Sheng, locked in a cage, couldn't die yet because he had developed the program. With the recent government crackdown, the entire program collapsed and needed to be rewritten. Under pressure from manager Liu, Pan Sheng had no choice but to comply. Soon, Zhao's team arrived in northern Myanmar to monitor the main scam suspects and locate their scam operation. However, when they reached the location, they found it deserted, indicating that the locals were complicit with the scam syndicate. With police insiders within the scam organization, the mission failed. Without concrete evidence, Zhao's team had to withdraw and leave with only 2 days left on their visas. That night, as Zhao's team left the hotel, they were surrounded by local residents. It turned out that the scam organization and the local residents were benefiting from each other. Blinded by money, the residents believed that the arrival of Zhao's team would disrupt their income. The residents became agitated and clashed with Zhao's team, smashing car windows and throwing homemade Molotov cocktails inside. At a critical moment, the president of the Overseas Chinese Chamber of Commerce appeared and stabilized everyone's emotions, saving Zhao's team. The president is the landlord in this area, which is why he commands such great respect. Seeing the situation, Zhao's team decided to return to China first. A former colleague has been receiving photos sent by Pan Sheng. Through Pan Sheng's hand gesture, he finally recognizes the distress signal. The binary code for 6 is 110, which is used to signify calling the police. He promptly contacts the police with this important information. However, even knowing Pan Sheng is trapped, the Chinese police doesn't know where he is. The colleague brings more good news. Pan Sheng's hand gesture also contains 3 instances of 6. It's highly likely that he is being held in a place with 3 sixes. Upon receiving this information, Zhao's team immediately starts investigating. They find a connection to the 3 sixes in the name and address of a nearby school near the scam compound. Zhao's team then begins surveillance of the school and notices that 120 adult meals and 1 bun are delivered there every day. With this clue, Zhao's team gathers police from other areas through the embassy and prepares to raid the school. They soon realize that the school has tight security measures, with fingerprint locks on every door. Without being in the system, no one can enter. Direct assault is not feasible, as it could harm children and escalate the situation. Hence, they need someone who can bypass the locks, and Zhao's team thinks of Anna. She immediately flies from China to northern Myanmar, returning to the place where the nightmare began. According to Anna, the targeted bun is meant for those who make mistakes. She suspects it's meant for Pan Sheng. So, the police control the restaurant owner and place a note in the buns delivered the next day. As expected, the bun reaches Pan Sheng. Upon reading the note, Pan Sheng immediately sets it on fire, triggering the fire alarm in the school and causing chaos. Seizing this opportunity, Zhao's team, with Anna's help, storms into the school. Soon, Manager Liu, through surveillance, spots Anna, leading the police into the school. In the next moment, Manager Lu glares at his sidekick, then bends down to the safe to grab a gun. Kai decides to act first, stabbing Lu in the back. Manager Lu winces in pain and turns around to aim the gun at Kai, then tosses the surveillance keys to him. Lu spares Kai and asks Kai to delete all the evidence, otherwise the real big boss will come after their family. Lu also needed to save himself. After saying this, he ordered everyone outside to smash the computers. Lu knew that the situation was dire. He took his daughter and asked Pan Sheng to help by sending his daughter back to his wife's hometown. Pan Sheng told Manager Lu to find the police, but the latter expressed distrust in the police, saying he only trusted Pan Sheng. Soon, the police stormed into the gymnasium. They subdued everyone, and Pan Sheng emerged from the cage, using his daughter as leverage to force Lu to reveal the mobile phone controlling the system terminal, which contained the personal information of all the victims. Under the threat of his daughter, Lu handed over the phone. Zhao's team wanted technical personnel to crack it, but Pan Sheng claimed if the password was entered incorrectly 3 times, it would automatically format and notify. Seeing this, Zhao stepped forward to take the phone. At that moment, Kai suddenly stood up and fired at Zhao's team, but he was also shot by the police behind him, rendering him unconscious. It turns out that what Lu instructed Kai to do was precisely this. With the sound of gunfire, chaos erupted on the scene. It wasn't until the reinforcements arrived that the situation was stabilized, and eventually everyone was arrested and sent back to their countries. The shot fired by Kai pierced Zhao's hand, but it did not cause significant harm. In the end, Pan Sheng unlocked the phone and accessed the system terminal. He retrieved all the victims' information and contacts in Manager Lu's department. With this, the scam ring was dismantled. Unfortunately, there were no clues to the person behind Lu. Pan Sheng handed Lu's daughter to Zhao's team. Lu was sentenced to death for murder and organized fraud. Anna, with the mitigating circumstances of surrendering, was sentenced to 2 years in prison. As for Pan Sheng, he proved that his actions were carried out under coercion. Afterwards, he assisted the police in solving the case, so his criminal liability was not pursued. Thus, the scam ring was destroyed. In the dimly lit auditorium, Anna sat engrossed in the presentation on online fraud. Pan Sheng, now working with law enforcement, shared insights on combating cybercrime. At the back, a man fiddling with a familiar casino chip. For upcoming content, click like, pound that subscribe, and hit notification. Thank you for watching.